Alrighty, everybody, what's popping in? This is BoomerNation.com. Welcome back to another video. And guys, today we're going to jump back into the NFL. I know we haven't really done this as a Super Bowl, and this will be our first video, basically moving forward to next year, since we're kind of already done with this year. Or this past year, so this will be the first start of the 2026-2027 season. But anyway, here, like I said, today's video, we're going to be predicting teams going into the off season, or since we're already in the off season. How far do I think these NFL teams are from actually having a chance of winning the Super Bowl this next season? So like I said, if you guys haven't already, make sure to like, subscribe, make sure to join Discord, links in the description. Make sure you guys do follow me on Twitch and on Discord, both links in the description. Go check us out. Make sure you guys please do hit the like, subscribe button, and make sure you guys as well go join our Discord. Please hit the like, subscribe button. This channel is free to subscribe. Make sure to hit the like, subscribe button as well. Alright, everybody, I appreciate your support, and yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. A lot of teams to rank here, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Alrighty, ladies and gents, and we have back here at the list, and we have the categories here, and of course we have to run it through, or unless unless you guys would complain in the comments. Well, I know you guys ain't, but just reality of it. Alright, so the top of the tier, we have the teams that are in a win now position, the teams that I think that could very much have a great shot at contending for the Super Bowl this next upcoming year. Just with knowing the roster now, we haven't really gotten to the trade deadline. We haven't really, not the trade, but we haven't really gotten to trades, draft, free. We haven't really gotten to all that. So the teams, I just think they're in a win now position. Below that, we have the teams I think are very close. The teams I do think that might have a shot in winning it. I just think they're very close. They're missing like a piece or two out of it, and they'll be right there in the win now category. Below that, we have the tier list that we have a couple years. I think they're going into the right direction, but it's going to take them a couple years to get through that process. Below that, we have the teams that I just don't think that's quite there yet. I mean, I can definitely see the future uprising, but I just don't think they're there just yet. And then the bottom of the tier, we have the teams that the teams I just think that have no shot at all without winning, not even having a shot of winning it next year. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start with the Arizona Cardinals. Man, for the Cardinals, I don't want to do it, but I gotta kind of put them a hell no, because I just don't see an opportunity how this Cardinals team, just the kind of position that they are now. I know they did originally just had a new head coach. They got the Rams offensive coordinator, which I didn't like, but as a Rams fan, but I will say this for the Cardinals, I just don't know what kind of position on it. Like I said, I know you probably got a better coaching staff. I just don't see the roster like going out there and just winning the division. That's the first thing, right? Winning the division. That's gonna be so hard for you guys, because like I said, you guys are in a very stacked NFC West, and you guys are by far the worst team in the NFC West right now. So it just gets hard. Plus, I just don't think the roster is just fully constructed as the other three teams. And when you look around the board, I mean, it's just going to be hard for the Cardinals, I think, to even reckon them having a chance of competing there. It's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. Next up, we got the Atlanta Falcons, and this is Atlanta's kind of confusing, because you just don't know what you're going to get out of them year in and year out. Like, you expect it to be good, like you should have a talented roster, but at the same time, like, can we really see that? I'm gonna put them at not quite yet, because I know they do have Bijan Robinson. I know he's a fucking dog. He's probably one of the better running backs in football. But at the same time, it just feels like that's it. Like if Bijan Robinson is consistent, it feels like nowhere else on that team is consistent. I know they have Drake. I know they have good receivers in Drake London. I've been very impressed with a couple of guys in the receiving core, but at the same time, this team just haven't really found a groove, and I'm kind of disappointed about that, because last year we kind of felt like we saw that. Like last year before the season, we thought we were going to get that, and we didn't necessarily get that, so that was pretty disappointing. I'm gonna say not quite for Atlanta just right now. Next up, we got Baltimore. Baltimore is one of those teams I'm kind of expecting to uprise a little bit. I'm gonna say Baltimore. I'm going to say they're very close, actually. I do think Baltimore has a slim shot. I do think they will bounce back this year. They're one of those teams that we're going to get into a couple of teams throughout the process of the NFL. I'm going to say that these teams are really going to take a leap up after last year. I think last year was an off year for the Ravens. You know, they had a whole bunch of injuries, but we don't know what this roster is. We know what their defense is. We know what their offense is like. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers. It's like they still have a really good core and a really good defense. The question is, can they stay healthy they're probably arguably one of the best team in that division. So when you look around the boards, like, this team is very close to winning the Super Bowl. They got everything they need. They hired a new coach. They got everything they got. The question is, can they put the pieces together? I'm putting them very close right now. They're so close. I don't think they're like title contending right now, but they got to show me it. But they're getting close. Next up, we got the Bills. I think the Bills are a win now team, man. I know people are gonna look at the comments and say, "Hey, the Bills, they haven't been able to get it done." That's just what the Bills have done. They haven't really been able to get the job done here in recent years, and I think this past season was their brightest opportunity without the two teams that knocked them out of the playoff before, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs. I thought that was a big opportunity for them to get into the Super Bowl, but you got to think that Josh Allen, how brilliant how this guy is, you got to think that he's going to win the Super Bowl at some point. And I know they do have some questions. We'll be getting into some videos later. We're going to talk about the teams that I do think they're going to need position-wise in the offseason. We're going to talk about the both defense and offense. We'll get to that in a minute. But I just think the Bills, like, they're so good. Like, they have to be a win-now team. Like, with Josh Allen playing at probably his prime right now, you got to think that they would win the Super Bowl. They're a win-now team. Moving on, we got the Carolina Panthers. I'm gonna say a couple years / improving. Listen, I think the Panthers are better than what people think. I do think the Panthers have really made that extra step forward this year on the rebuild, and I've been very impressed with what I've seen out of them last year. I know they went 8-9. Which is kind of not deserving to make the playoffs. To be completely honest, I'll be the first person to admit that. I think when you go 8-9 and you're in a trash division, it's fair to say that you don't really deserve to go to the playoffs. But I think but the way I looked at that, I look at them challenging us, the Rams, really close in that first round, and say, okay, if the Panthers, if they just make a couple more moves defensively, I think they can actually make some noise. And the NFC South, it's wide open. It's wide open. It's the worst division of football, right? It's wide open. You have plenty of room to do something here. If Carolina makes a move this offseason, something like that, they could be up to something here. I say Carolina, they won the division last year. The home playoff game, they almost beat who went to the NFC Championship. They keep making a couple moves, man. They'll be all right. Moving on, we got the Chicago Bears. I'm going to say a couple years / improving. Like I said, they're kind of like the Panthers, like a team I just really thought I was impressive last year. Now, I don't think they're very close just yet. I still think they have some things to fix. I still think Caleb Williams still has some development to do, and Ben Johnson as a head coach. But at the same time, like, these two were brilliant last year as a 1-2 combo. Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, those two were awesome last year. Love how the offense developed. DeAndre Swift looks good. The roster looks good. The defense doesn't look bad, but at the same time, at stretches that their defense does look bad. It just depends on what version you get out of them. But like I said, I think the Bears are they're definitely improving though, because the last couple years they've been like the worst team not the worst team in the division by far. So the fact that they went from that to jump first place in the division last year was definitely an improvement. So like where the Bears are headed, I don't think they're yet, but they definitely are improving. Moving on, we got the Cincinnati Bengals here, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm gonna put the Bengals at very close. The only other reason why they're not a win now team is because of their defense. Their defense is terrible. That's the only thing that's stopping from this team. If this team could just go out, find a good defensive coordinator, get some good D linemen, stuff like that, get some good help in the secondary, which I do think that's what the team's main weakness is right now. Man, I'm gonna tell you, if this team had at least a decent defense, it would definitely be a win now team, because we already know how their offense is capable of. But man, like I said, it's just all about that defense. Can they get that defense fixed? Next, we got the Cleveland Browns. Hell no, they're not going to win anytime soon. They're kind of like on the rebuild. I mean, I don't even know who's going to be playing at quarterback. I think it's going to be Shedeur Sanders next year, but at the same time, it has a chance to be like Gabriel and stuff. And I kind of feel bad for the organization, because they have like one of the better defenses in all of football. It's just unfortunate that their offense is just a pile of shit. And Quinton Junkins got injured too. We don't even know when he's going to be available. We don't even know if he's going to we don't even know if he's going to play next year. So that's a big hit for the Browns. I just don't think there's a slim chance, plus in the division they're playing in, I just don't think that there's a slim shot for them to even get close to a remarkable. Next up, we got the Dallas Cowboys. I'm gonna put them a couple years in improving. They're kind of like in the same story as because the Dallas still has one of the best offense. Dak Prescott looks like he's playing really well right now. I like the addition of George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb down there. I think those two have been really well last year. And the Cowboys were definitely like one of the worst teams in the division a couple years ago. And they kind of been back and forth. Like they've been consistent. They have been losing team, kind of build a back team. I want to see them take that next step. If they can show me that they can do that, I'll put them in very close. I do believe in this offense, but I just don't. They're kind of like the same situation as the Cincinnati Bengals. But the difference between the two, we've seen Cincinnati get there before. We've seen them go to the Super Bowl before. We haven't really seen that from Dallas, so I'm going to put them at years improving. They're getting very close. Their offense is dynamic. Like I said, just like Cincinnati, it's just their defense that needs work. Moving on, we got the Broncos. I'm going to put the Broncos at very close. I probably should put them at a win-now team because just the roster that they have, the defense that they have. The question is, I don't have that much faith in their offense. I look back to last year. They have a lot of moments last year that they just been a little bit way too inconsistent on the offensive side of the ball. Like we know what we're going to get out of them defensively. They're one of the better defensive units in all of football right now. They can play defense in all levels. They're pretty good in the secondary and up front. And the other thing is, I had to really think it's just stopping this team from getting like a win now situation team is the offense. I think they need to do a little bit more on the offensive side of the ball. This offseason, no matter is an offensive coordinator, not a quarterback. I'm fine with Bo Nix, running back too. But as long as we can get some good, consistent receivers and a good tight end, I think Denver will be in that position, like a win now position, because we know what kind of team they can be. Next, we got the Detroit Lions. I'm gonna say very close because the Lions have recently been there. I do think the Lions are very close to winning the Super Bowl. The only thing that's really stopping the Lions is their health. Because if you look all the way 2 years ago, they probably would have won the Super Bowl. I mean, I know the Chiefs were in there in that Super Bowl as well, but they probably would have won that Super Bowl, and they probably would win the NFC if they were healthy. Now, remember the year that they lost to the Commanders in the divisional? I think that they win that division if they're healthy. I thought the Lions were clear and clout the best team in the NFC that year, and I just think this team is close. Like I said, they still have the same starting power. They're kind of like the Bengals. Like we know what we already know we're going to get out of them offensively, but the question is, can their defense like step up? That's going to be a big thing for Detroit going into the offseason here. They got to get some defensive thing. Now, since they have a retirement, I forgot who it was. Can't think of his name back of my head. How are they going to adjust to that? So a couple questions here from the Lions going into next season, but I do think this team is very close. Next, we got Green Bay. The Green Bay. They're also very close. I'll give it to them. I mean, Green Bay. I know they were 17 last year. A lot of people thought they were going to be the best team in football. Man, even I thought they were going to be one of the best teams in football last year. Especially after when they got Micah Parsons in that trade. Because I thought the defense looked good. I think they're still a couple pieces away. They're not far off. I think they're close, but I don't think they're gonna I don't think they're like a win now team. I think they really need. I think it's just chemistry with them. Jordan Love. I love Josh Jacobs. I'm a fan of him, but I think the chemistry they just need a little bit more chemistry to go out there and really compete. Yeah, they can win the division. And you could bet they could definitely. Those are like the Lions and Packers. Those are one of those two teams I'm thinking about. Like you can make a legitimate argument that they could be a win now team, but I just think that they're very close. They're close again. They're not yet, but they're getting close. Next, we got the Houston Texans, and they're just another team I have to put in really close. I know we have a lot of teams in the very close category, but it's the truth. And the reason why I have the Texans at very close is everybody knows this. They have a defense. They have one of the best defensive units in football, and not gonna lie, they actually do have some talent offensively too. Now, I do think Joe Mixon should be back this next season. I'm not sure. I could be wrong on that. But to be completely honest with me, they just need a consistent offensive plan. Like they just need to have a consistent offensive game. If they can do that, man, the Texans, they probably will be one of the Super Bowl favorites. But they just need an offensive game plan. That's just all what it is. They already have one of the best defensive units in the NFL. C.J. Stroud looked terrible in the playoffs last year. So I feel like if they clean that up, man, this team will probably win the Super Bowl next year, so they just got to figure that stuff out. Next, we have the Indianapolis Colts. I'm gonna say a couple years / improving because the Colts are improving, right? Because I didn't think the Colts were gonna be as good as they were last year. Even though Daniel Jones got injured last year, and I think everybody all knew that was kind of like the inning of the road there for Indianapolis Colts. I don't think they're that far off. I do think they can make some adjustments on the defensive side of the ball. I don't really like what I've seen from them defensively ever since Daniel Jones get hurt. I think their defense definitely took a downfall there. I don't think their defense was script, and I do think that's the process of their rebuilding here. But listen, the Colts, they showed some heart last year. They showed like they actually might have a slim shot of actually doing something this next year. So I'm gonna say a couple years / improving. They definitely are getting better as an organization, and I do think it's gonna take a couple years for them to get there. But I think if they continue to get more chemistry between the players, I think they could do something over the course of, like these next 3 to 6 years. Moving on, we got the Jags. The Jags are very questionable. They really are, because they're just another one team that you just don't know. They're kind of like the Falcons. It's just a team that you just don't know what you're gonna get, and it get 9 in and 9 out every year. I'm gonna put them a couple years in improving, because I do like what I'm seeing out of the Jags. Like I said, I know they've been in the playoffs, been out of the playoffs, they've been a little bit inconsistent when it comes down to like getting in the playoffs, getting out of the playoffs, and that definitely could be a little bit of a trigger there. But I do like Trevor Lawrence. I do like Travis Etienne. I always love watching them two together. I do think they have a decent defense, but at the same time, I think their defense needs to get slightly better this offseason, specifically in the secondary range, because they've been giving a lot of stops there. I don't think this Jaguar team is off. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're off and winning the Super Bowl. They just won the division last year, and they barely beat the Bills. I feel like if they would have got past the Bills, they probably would have, in my opinion, would have got to the Super Bowl. So I don't think this team is off, but at the same time, I think it's going to take a couple of years. They're just kind of like the same situation as the Colts. I think they just need a little bit more chemistry between the players. Next, we got the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, do I put them at a win now team? Because something's just telling me I think the Chiefs are going to come back and just murder people next year. Like they're pissed off after last year, but at the same time, it just really depends on Patrick Mahomes, because we already know what this team is. They're a Super Bowl roster. We already know what the Chiefs are. Let's not overreact to last year. Let's not overreact to one bad year. And fuck it. I'm just gonna put the Chiefs in a win now team, because I really do feel like I think the Chiefs are gonna come out and kick everybody's asses next year. I really have that feeling, because they're embarrassed, and they're used to playing in Super Bowl. So and the fact that they even make the playoffs last year, I think they're gonna be pissed about that. But like I said, Travis Kelce has not retired, and Patrick Mahomes has to be playing. If those two things does not happen, I might put the Chiefs at a couple years / improving. But for right now, I'm gonna put them at win now. Chiefs are definitely always will remain a win now team with a score. Next up, we got the Chargers. I'm gonna say a couple years of improving. Yeah, I do think the Chargers are definitely headed towards the right direction. I think Harbaugh has been a really good coach for them. And I do think he definitely had to turn around that organization pretty well here. But I do like what Justin Herbert's been playing. But I do think the Chargers have to fix that offensive line this offseason, because we've seen it at stretches this year. They are awful. They cannot block anybody. Justin Herbert was getting sacked so many times per game. And I do think I do like this team is just underrated. Like I like Lamb McConkey. I like Keegan Allen. I like this receiving core. I think it's decent. And I like their tight end game with I'm not gonna pronounce his last name. Starts with a G. Can't not pronounce it, but I like everything with the Chargers. The question is, can they get that O-line fixed? I mean, I just think if they do that, they could definitely do something these next couple of years. But I'm gonna put them in the middle for right now. Next, we got the LA Rams. Yeah, my Rams. Yeah, we definitely are a win now team. This team should have won the Super Bowl this year, to be completely honest. And I'm not even being biased as a Rams fan. I think we should have won the Super Bowl last year. I think the Super Bowl was in our hands. We have one of the best offenses in the NFL. We have one of the better defenses. Well, I can't say one of the better defenses, because I can say that at the start of last year, but I can't say that at the end of last year, because our defense has definitely went on a downgrade at the end of the year. But we already know what the kind of team the Rams are. They have one of the most terrific offenses. Defense got to get a little bit better, especially in the secondary. But besides that, yeah, absolutely, the Rams are definitely a must win now team going next year. Moving on, we got the Raiders. I don't think there's a shot for the Raiders. Now, I do think they're going to get Mendoza in the draft, and I do think they have some good coaching now. And now they got Seattle's offensive coordinator now as their head coach, and I do think they hired some couple other good coaches. But the question is, how is this going to fit? We haven't seen the game. How this is going to fit? We need to see everything equalized before we can come to clinch down to conclusions. Next up, we have the Miami Dolphins. No, the Dolphins, they're a mess right now. I don't know what's going on in Miami. I really don't. I just don't know what direction they're going in. I know they traded Tyreek Hill, and maybe that's the right move. Maybe that's what they want to do. They want to get rid of Tyreek Hill and start fresh. I get that, but what direction are you going to go? Are you going to get rid of Tua Tagovailoa? Is Stephon Achane going to be there? Is there going to be your good player on the team? I mean, I just don't know what kind of direction Miami is. If I would have knew, I would put them somewhere else, but I just don't know what direction they're in. Next, we got Minnesota. I'm not going to put them out of the question for hell no, but I'm going to put them at not quite yet. And the other reason is because I don't really trust their quarterback situation right now. I know J.J. McCarthy wasn't the best last year, but I just think that he was awful last year, and I do think Carson Wentz at times, we've seen last year that Carson Wentz kind of outplayed J.J. McCarthy last year, and those two quarterbacks, if you stick with them in long term, you're not going to go anywhere. And you guys know because you guys know how pissed Justin Jefferson was last year. So with the Vikings, it's just can you find a quarterback that can take you? Now they had Sam Darnold last year, and then he won the fucking Super Bowl. But and the Vikings do look like an asshole for that. I bet you guys, Vikings fans, can say that. But the question is, can Minnesota can they get a quarterback that will take them to the promised land? That's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a thing here for the Vikings. If they can figure it out, they have the roster to go out there and compete. Next, we got the Patriots. I think the Patriots are a win now team. They just been to the Super Bowl, and I know they had the easiest schedule as it all last year, and I know a lot of people are saying that, but I do think that's true because they haven't really played against a lot of Super Bowl caliber teams, but I just think the Patriots are just a win now team. As I think they have one of the more balanced offenses. Their defense has shown a real signs of improvement. Matter of fact, I think that defense is getting a lot better. I think this team could be pissed about losing in the Super Bowl. I think they're going to come out red hot to start the season next season. I still have a lot of expectations for the Patriots. I do think, and the only reason I'm keeping them in the win now category is because they're young. They're a really young group. Mike Vrabel's done a hell of a job, so I'll definitely put them on a win now team. Next up, we got the Saints. I'm not going to put the Saints at hell no because I do earn some respect. I'm going to put them at not quite yet. I do like what Tyler Shuck. I really did enjoy how he played at the end of last year, and I do think they should stick with Tyler Shuck. I just think that they just need some pieces around him, and they definitely need to get younger because they're one of the older teams in the NFL. I know they have some good players like Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, that are old, but at the same time, like I said, your team has to get younger, and as your team gets younger, you need experience. And I know you want to keep some veterans out there, you want to get younger, but you want to get some veterans in there that can lead the youngins to the promised land. So I'm going to say the Saints. They're not quite yet. I won't put them in hell no there. Next up, we got the Giants. I'm kind of on the same boat with them. Basically what I said about the Saints. I mean, not quite yet. But it's kind of like the opposite. Like, they're in the Saints, but the opposite. And they don't know Saints. I'm saying that they're old and they need some young guys. I think the Giants are young, but need some older guys. Like, they need some veterans on their team. I do like Jackson Dart. I think he's been playing really well. I cannot wait till Cam Scatterboo gets back. I think this team is actually going to be a lot better than what people think will be last year, just because of their youth and what I do think what their excitement that could be. I just think they need to fix up that defense a little bit more, and they just need some chemistry between them young guns, and maybe add a couple veterans. But besides that, I'm going to put them in not quite. I'm not going to put them in hell no. Next, we got the Jets. Kind of like in the same situation as Miami. I just don't know what direction they're going into. I think that franchise is a mess right now. I just don't know what direction they're headed. Like, are they going to keep Justin Fields? Is Breece Hall going to be traded? Is everybody going to be traded? Is Aaron Glenn going to be fired? We don't know. We just don't know what direction the Jets are headed to. Next, we got the Eagles. Eagles are hard because everything that we saw between 2 years ago and last year is just making me confused in the Eagles, because we all know they're a damn good team, but we haven't seen that all last year with their best football. Like, we haven't seen it. They looked completely relaxed last year. I'll put them at a win now team because we know what the talent they got. Like, we already know what they're capable of. The question is, can they be effective offensively like they were 2 years ago? Like, the pieces are there. Question is, can you just be effective? You already have that. You already have the playoff experience. Can you get the job done? I'm not sure. Your offense definitely needs to wake up, though. You won't have a chance this year. Next, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers are just another team. I'm just questionable. I don't really know where to rank the Steelers at this moment of time being. Well, I know they're going to be either here. They're going to be a couple years or not quite. I just don't know where I'm going to put them at because they did get rid of Mike Tomlin, which I do think it might hurt them. Then they got Mike McCarthy back, which I don't know if that's going to change much of anything. And besides that, they have some old veterans like Aaron Rodgers. They still have that young core and they still have that pretty solid defense. I'm gonna put them a couple years of improving because I do think they might have a slim shot of doing something the next couple years, but you know that your division is gonna be a lot tougher than what it was last year. You also know that you probably will be trailing and you probably have a better chance of missing the playoffs next year. But it's definitely not impossible because you have one of the better coaching. Well, I don't know about that anymore since you got rid of the coaching, but I don't know. The Steelers just a confusing team to think about right now at the moment. What direction they're really headed to, but I'll put them in the middle. Next, we got the Seahawks. Yeah, they're a win now team. They just won the fucking Super Bowl. How are they not a win now team? I mean, I'd say Sam Darnold looks great. I mean, now I am curious what they're going to do with Kenneth Walker because if you guys haven't heard, Seattle Seahawks did not franchise tag Kenneth Walker, and he is a free agent. So let's see if he gets traded this offseason. If not, I'm gonna move to Seattle very close because I do think they need that running back game to sustain. Because we saw a couple years in the playoffs, the Rams, for instance, were all coming team they were capable of beating them, but we just don't know if like certain stretches. So we'll see about Seattle, but right now they're the champs, so I had to put them there for now. Moving on, we got San Francisco. Man, San Francisco's close. I'm gonna tell you that right now. They are close, and this is mainly because how much they impressed me last year. Like this NFL team won 12 games last year, and by far being one of the more banged up teams in the NFL. And as a Rams fan, I hate to say this. I hate to put the Niners there or any of my division rivals, but at the same time, like I'm not biased. Like this is just reality of it. This is just where the team is, and I just think that they have a whole bunch of veterans in there that is capable of winning the Super Bowl and has been there. Well, as a matter of fact, I think majority of the roster is still on that Super Bowl team who has been to the Super Bowl when he lost to KC just a couple seasons ago. I think the Niners are close. Next, we got the Buccaneers. I'm gonna put a couple years. It's going to take him a couple years to get there. Now, I do want to see Emeka Egbuka. I want to see him get a little bit more experience. Yeah, I know he was a phenomenal wide receiver last year. Phenomenal. And I do think they have a very good receiving core with him, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans. Hopefully Mike Evans comes back next year. But I just want to see this team come out. We're desperate. I want to see this team desperate next year. I do think they're improving. I do think Baker Mayfield's been one of the better quarterbacks to start the year. Yeah, I know he was pretty cool at the end of the year, but I think it's been pretty accurate throughout the season. So we'll see what the Buccaneers' direction. Let's see where they're to go. For right now, I'll put them a couple years. Next up, we got Tennessee. I just don't see Tennessee. I mean, unless Cam Ward goes out there and absolutely just dominate, I just don't see a scenario how the Titans are remarkably close from winning a Super Bowl next year. And moving on, we have Washington. Washington's another confusing team because they've been to the conference championship just very recently. As a matter of fact, it was just 2 seasons ago, I believe, when they've been to the conference championship. And we already know what this team is capable of. The question is, can they remain healthy or not? If they remain healthy, they could actually do something. But at the same time, like they're also young. They're another one of those young teams that just think that needs a little bit more time to develop here. I'm gonna put them at not quite yet, but you could definitely make an argument for them that they could be at a couple years / improving. But just the kind of the season I had last year is kind of making me down a little bit. But at the same time, we all know what they're capable of. Jay Daniels literally led this team to the AFC Championship game just 2 years ago. So I'm definitely not going to put it out of the question. So that's why I could have put in a hell no, but I'll just put it there and not quite yet. I just don't think they have enough key pieces in town for us to be making there. Alright, well, without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and wrap it up for today's video. Like I said, if you guys haven't already, hit the like and subscribe button. Anyway, I'm gonna hop out, get the thing out so you guys can watch this on time. Appreciate all our support, and we'll see you guys in the next time. This is BeardNation.com. Peace out, stay safe, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next vid.